What's up? I'm Drew Paul Bell, and today what I want to talk about is how every design juror you get in architecture school is going to be different. So I went through 10 semesters of architecture school, and at the end of every semester at my school we would have we would pick the top 3, they would decide on the top 3 projects from each semester and send them on through to the final competition where, ideally the best of the best are all competing against each other with a new set of jurors to declare the best of the year. So I would notice something interesting that would happen because I would go to all of these even if I was not in it, and I realized that what would always happen is that these jurors, the project that had done maybe the best in my class that we thought was so great, got to the final and didn't get shortlisted, or sometimes they did get shortlisted and then specifically got chewed out for not having a good project. Now, why did this one project, who was so great a week ago, didn't change anything at all, in fact maybe even worked on their boards a little bit more, gets into the final review, the final competition review, and now they have a horrible review experience? Well, the truth is that whoever wins that competition, or whoever did well in the final review as opposed to the competition review, it doesn't mean that they necessarily had the best project it doesn't mean that they had the best project in the year or the best project in the class. It just means that they did the best with that jury on that day. Each juror, each group of juries, they all have different dynamics and they're going to value different things. So it's important, the important lesson to take away from this is don't get too caught up in having a bad review, because just because a professor or just because a jury didn't like your design today doesn't mean that the next group wouldn't have. Now, there is a lot to learn from design juries. These kinds of things, like, they really hammer down on ways you can grow. It's one of the fastest ways to grow, by putting your work up and really getting that critique. Okay, like that kind of, it's not real like flattering to your ego necessarily, but you don't want to be soft, you want to be better. So in these reviews, like, you have a lot to learn, a lot to take in, but don't take anything too personally, and don't think that just because you had a bad review you're necessarily a bad designer. One particular instance really stands out to me, where we were doing an urban design studio. The project was at the scale of like an urban design kind of a thing, and one of the professors that was on the jury, one of them said, what you've done here, to somebody, he said, what you've done here with this design is you've oriented all the streets east-west, and now you're going to have sunlight streaming down these streets and heating up everything. It's going to make the street life too hot. But then as soon as he said that, the other juror piped up and he said, what? He said, I disagree. I love sunlight. He said, I would rather walk down the street in 90-degree weather in Georgia with a sweater drenching in sweat than to be denied access to the sunlight. He said, then he goes on to say, but this is a differing of opinion. Each juror feels something different. He said, he likes shadow, he likes shade, I like sunlight. But it's just this dichotomy. There is going to be differences in what people like versus what other jurors like. So even within one jury circle, there can be differing opinions within that. So the big takeaway from this is, although you have the opportunity to really grow and be critiqued in your design presentations, at the same time you should not take anything that any one jury says to you too personally, because there is a differing of opinion between different juries. So I hope this helps you, and I want to ask you guys, what is the best piece of advice that you've gotten from a jury that you can remember recently? I want to know. Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope this helps. I'll talk to you next time.